Welcome to the Deep Dive. We are the shortcut you need to be perfectly informed, taking your source material and extracting the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight.
Today we're doing something a little different. A really fascinating deep dive into a real-life English conversation that is, well, it's deceptively complex.
It really is. What we have is the transcript of two friends. Their names are Emma and James, and they're meeting for dinner.
And not just any dinner. It's at an upscale Italian place in downtown Manhattan, New York City called Bella Notte.
Right. And our mission today is to move way, way beyond just, what they ate. We're here to analyze the structure, the cultural norms, and the really rich descriptive vocabulary they use.
It's about showing you the anatomy of a conversation.
Exactly. The anatomy of fluent, high-context social English.
Think of this as your masterclass in conversational sophistication. I mean, how do you seamlessly pivot from talking about, say, a huge business contract to the perfect texture of mascarpone cheese?
It's a skill.
It is, and that fluidity is the hallmark of advanced fluency. So we're going to break down every single transition and key phrase for you.
So if you're looking to upgrade your vocabulary, or maybe understand the unwritten rules of professional socializing, and just generally feel more comfortable in a conversation that, as we'll see, spans like 3 different continents.
At least.
Then stick with us. We're going to give you the structural insights and the precise terminology you need.
Okay, let's get into it.
So the dinner kicks off.
Yeah.
But not with menus, not with ordering. It starts with what you could call a social ritual, the personal bridge. And this is so crucial for setting the tone. I think a lot of people, they really underestimate the depth that's required in this first 5 minutes. You can't just say a quick hello.
You really can't. The transactional goal, which is eating, is completely, pushed to the side for the social goal.
Which is?
Reaffirming the bond. The very first thing they establish is the time lapse. Emma says it's been way too long, and James immediately confirms, I think it's been at least 3 months.
Okay, so why is that so important? Why explicitly mention how long it's been?
Well, it acts as a kind of conversational justification.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, if they'd seen each other last week, the catch-up would be minimal, right? How was your weekend? But by stating 3 months, they're signaling to each other that a really thorough, high-level life update isn't just okay, it's mandatory.
It validates the time they're about to spend talking before they even look at the food.
Precisely. It sets the terms for the conversation to follow.
And I love the specific phrasing of their opening questions. They're so warm, but they're also an invitation for a story, not just yes or no answer.
Right. They use things like, how have you been? Or how's everything going?
And then that great one, how's life treating you?
That phrase is wonderfully sophisticated, isn't it? How's life treating you is an invitation to share a summary of your general state of being, your happiness, your success.
It's a big question.
It's a huge question. And it carries a slight risk because it demands a higher level of intimacy and trust than just simple small talk. It really sets a high bar for the rest of the evening.
And they jump right in. It's this rapid-fire sharing of what's been happening, and they immediately integrate travel. James starts with his recent business trip.
He was in San Francisco just last week.
And he uses this professional detail, but it's like a springboard to a sensory detail, which I think is a great conversational technique.
Oh, absolutely. He mentions the trip, but the first thing he focuses on is the enjoyment factor. He says the weather was incredible.
So he's showing Emma that he prioritizes the enjoyable parts of what was probably a pretty demanding schedule.
Exactly. He's not giving her a dry report about a conference or a meeting. He's making it memorable, relatable. He specifies that he visited Golden Gate Park.
And had fantastic seafood at Fisherman's Wharf.
And those specific geographical and culinary details, they aren't just random facts. They are conversational placeholders.
Hooks for later.
They're hooks. Emma could hypothetically pivot later and say, oh, which restaurant did you go to at the wharf? Or did you see the bison at Golden Gate Park? It keeps the whole conversation porous and open to expansion later.
So James sets the tone with travel and work, and then Emma responds by sort of grounding herself in her own geography and family.
Right, she gives her own context immediately. She confirms she's originally from Boston, Massachusetts.
A key historical detail about her background.
But then she clarifies that New York has been her home for 5 years. So it's this great balance of her personal roots with her current established life.
And she integrates her family updates so smoothly. Her parents are doing wonderfully, and they visited last month.
Did you notice the structure of that exchange? It's a perfect balance.
How so?
James shares an external experience, travel, work, and Emma shares internal anchors family location.
That balances everything, isn't it? If one person just dominates with too much shop talk or, too many boring details, the whole social bridge kind of fails.
It completely collapses. But this exchange, it's quick, it's detailed, it's balanced. It successfully bridges that 3-month gap. They've confirmed their relationship, and now, finally, they are ready to engage with the external environment.
The restaurant itself.
Exactly. They're ready for the next phase.
Okay, so now the entire register of the conversation shifts as the environment, the restaurant steps in.
Mhm.
They've established that emotional context, and now they have to deal with the formality of bella notte.
Which they've already described as absolutely beautiful with wonderful ambiance.
Right, so the scene is set. Upscale Italian in Manhattan. That immediately dictates the expected linguistic register for the service interaction.
It really does. And Antonio, the waiter, he gets it perfectly. He starts with a formal, very polite greeting. There's no casual, hey, guys.
No, it signals sophistication from the very first word.
And that initial inquiry is, the basic transactional step. Wine or cocktails, confirming the cuisine. But Antonio moves beyond just taking an order so quickly. He starts guiding them.
And that guidance, that's the hallmark of really expert high-end service, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. He doesn't just list a bunch of options blindly. He asks leading questions based on preferred categories.
Seafood versus something heartier like beef or pasta.
Right, and that word heartier is such a specific and great culinary term. It suggests warmth, richness, substance. It's perfect for braised or slow-cooked dishes. He's curating the meal, not just fulfilling an order.
And the guests respond in kind. They show they've done their homework. Emma is leaning toward the sea base, having heard it is exceptional.
And James is thinking about the famous osso buco because he's heard rave reviews.
The language they use there, exceptional and rave reviews, that's significant, right?
Very. It shows they're relying on external validation, on the restaurant's reputation, and that raises the stakes for Antonio. He now knows they are discerning customers. They're expecting excellence.
And that's what allows him to step into his true expert role, the sophisticated wine pairings. He's not just recommending the house white.
God, no. He's providing specific locations and detailed flavor profiles.
So we have to break these recommendations down because the language is just packed with these quality indicators. For Emma's sea base, he suggests a Pinot Grigio.
But he immediately specifies its origin, the Veneto region of Italy.
And he describes it using the essential wine lexicon. He calls it crisp, refreshing, and pairs beautifully with seafood.
Let's analyze that language for a second. Crisp suggests high acidity, which is what you want to cut through the richness of fish and sauce.
Refreshing suggests a certain lightness.
Exactly. But the key, the linguistic signal of true authenticity, is adding Veneto region. If he just said Pinot Grigio, it would be fine. But adding the specific Italian region instantly elevates that recommendation from just general service advice to expert-specific knowledge.
It assures her that this isn't some mass-market wine. It's regionally appropriate for the food she's about to eat.
Yes. And then for James, who is set on this rich braised meat, the osso buco, Antonio proposes a Barolo.
And the language he uses for the Barolo is completely different.
It has to be. He describes the Barolo as a robust red wine that complements braised meats magnificently.
Robust, that's the key word there.
It's the total opposite of crisp and refreshing. It signals complexity, tannins, body, all the necessary structure to stand up to the richness and depth of a slow-cooked dish like osso buco.
And he uses magnificently. That's a great intensifier. It assures James that this isn't just a good pairing, it's the perfect authoritative one.
It's a performative use of expert vocabulary. And of course, they accept immediately, which signals their trust in him.
Antonio then transitions out so smoothly. He gives them the menus and sets their expectations. He'll be back shortly to discuss the specials.
It's a fantastic move. It signals a structured, high-quality service flow, and he's managing the pacing of their entire evening. He manages the pause.
Right. He gives them permission to pivot back to their private conversation, now armed with menus and some excellent wine.
The transition is now complete. The social bridge is established, the transactional foundation is laid, and the expert curation has been accepted. They're ready for the next stage.
So as the friends look over the menu, they immediately go back to this social planning mode, focused on maximizing the culinary fun.
And James proposes the shared plate strategy.
Emphasizing that sharing makes the whole dining experience so much more enjoyable and social.
And this is such a deep cultural insight into high-context dining. Sharing is, in a way, an act of vulnerability and trust.
How so?
It says, I value your opinion of my choices. I trust your taste. It makes the dinner a communal event rather than just two people eating separate meals next to each other. They're committing to exploring the menu together.
And their selection is very deliberate. They choose 3 different dishes that offer a lot of variety. First up, the burrata with heirloom tomatoes, which sounds divine.
Well, burrata is a modern upscale darling, isn't it? It's soft, creamy, fresh. And saying it sounds divine is an emotional endorsement, not just a descriptive one.
Then they choose the calamari. And Emma specifically says she hasn't had good calamari in ages.
Which I love because it suggests that they're setting a high-quality control threshold for Bella Notte. It's like a challenge. Impress us.
But it's that third choice that really acts as the conversational trigger. The arancini.
The Sicilian rice balls, stuffed with cheese. This choice immediately launches James back into memory and into travel.
It connects the food on the table to a memory instantaneously. The arancini prompts James to start recounting his trip to Italy 3 years prior.
And this is where the geography of the conversation really begins to just explode.
It really does. He provides the crucial relationship context right away. He went with his sister, Catherine.
Who now lives in London, England.
And he adds that this is a tradition for them. They take one trip together every year. So suddenly, we're not just getting a travel story, we're getting relationship depth, future plans, and a key geographical reference point for one of his closest family members.
And James's itinerary is so detailed, which is a key part of fluent storytelling. He doesn't just generalize and say, we went to Italy. He specifies.
Rome for 4 days.
Then a train to Florence for 3 days.
And ended in Venice for 2 days.
That specificity, it lends credibility, and it allows Emma to mentally map his entire experience. And then his summary description of all the places as breathtaking is a universal, yet really effective, high-level endorsement.
It's true. Honestly, just tracking this conversation's geography feels like an intense session with a world atlas already.
Let's count. We've moved from Manhattan to San Francisco, Veneto, Rome, Florence, Venice, and London, England.
And the conversation doesn't stop there, because Emma immediately adds another global connection.
Her husband, David, is originally from Sydney, Australia.
And he wants them to visit his family there instead of Europe. I mean, the pace is just astonishing.
This rapid geographical expansion, this constant referencing of global locations and connections, it's a fundamental trait of modern high-context English.
It signals that both Emma and James operate within these global professional and social circles.
Exactly. They expect the other person to be able to pivot between continents without missing a beat.
So for you, the listener, if you want to operate at this level of fluency, you have to be prepared to do that. To integrate geographically diverse origins, personal travel logs, and family locations into your casual conversation.
The world has literally entered the dinner table at this point.
Antonio returns, and we get the wine verdict. And this is a moment where the conversational register has to meet the challenge of this upscale environment.
They need to use a language of sophisticated endorsement, and they do.
Emma calls the Pinot Grigio exquisite. That's a powerful descriptor.
And she adds that it has clean and bright flavors. Clean implies purity and balance. Bright refers to that acidity and freshness we talked about.
And James calls the Barolo outstanding. These words are intentional. They're not just saying it's good.
No, they're affirming Antonio's expertise and, at the same time, establishing their own palates.
And speaking of Antonio's expertise, he transitions smoothly into listing the specials, and this is where the language of culinary artistry is really deployed. He uses very specific technical vocabulary.
This is such a critical learning segment. When you're talking about fine food, you have to move beyond just listing the basic ingredients.
Okay, let's look at his list. The first special is a wild mushroom risotto, but he enhances it with
truffle oil and aged Parmesan.
Let's stop there. Why those specific adjectives? Why are they so important?
Well, truffle oil is a classic signifier of luxury and richness, often associated with a higher price point. But crucially, aged Parmesan isn't just old cheese.
Right.
The term aged confirms a process that maximizes the flavor profile through time and care. It's a signal of quality raw material.
Okay, next special. Pan-seared halibut with saffron cream sauce and roasted vegetables.
Pan-seared is a precise, quick cooking method. It's designed to create a crust on the outside while keeping the inside perfectly moist. It implies a high level of technical skill in the kitchen.
And saffron cream sauce.
Saffron is the world's most expensive spice, so its inclusion immediately elevates the dish from, a generic piece of fish to high cuisine.
And the final special, the veal saltimbocca, with sage, prosciutto, and a white wine reduction.
Reduction. That is perhaps the most technical word used here. It signifies that the sauce was created by boiling a liquid, concentrating the flavor, and thickening it naturally without any artificial agents.
So it's a key culinary technique.
It is. And using the word reduction in conversation, it instantly elevates the discussion. It shows an appreciation for the cooking process itself. So if you want to talk about high-end food, you have to be able to deploy this kind of vocabulary.
And yet, despite these spectacular descriptions, James makes a really strategic choice.
He sticks with the classic osso buco.
Based on the restaurant's reputation. And Emma also sticks with her original choice, the sea base.
And that decision is, in itself, an endorsement of the restaurant's core identity. It suggests James is a connoisseur. He knows that the house specialties are often more reliable than the specials, which can sometimes be, a bit experimental.
It's a subtle linguistic signal of sophisticated dining experience.
It really is.
They then finalize the logistics, confirming they want the appetizers to come out all at once for their shared spread.
They add some side dishes. James gets rosemary roasted potatoes. Emma orders grilled asparagus with lemon butter.
And Antonio closes the transaction so responsibly and formally with that safety check.
Any dietary restrictions or allergies?
That necessary formality signals the end of the ordering phase. And it's a quick pivot back to the friends conversation, which now focuses on work. So with that complex ordering process finally complete, the conversation pivots back to what we talked about earlier, this high-stakes, casual talk about their professional lives.
And Emma asks James directly about a major work event, the Henderson account.
This is a perfect example of how friends in demanding careers use specific professional jargon. Just mentioning the Henderson account signals so much.
It signals that James works in a B2B client-facing environment, and he's likely managing large-scale, high-value contracts. It provides maximum context with minimal words.
It confirms that winning the contract was a huge relief and one of the most rewarding professional experiences. Now, I want to pause on that phrase for a second.
Okay.
Rewarding professional experiences. Is that genuine enthusiasm, or is that the required linguistic framework you have to use in a high-pressure corporate setting to always frame this immense logistical struggle as a rewarding professional experience?
That's a great question, and I think the answer is it's a bit of both. It is a genuine relief, I'm sure, but the phrasing is definitely professional register management.
Right. In that context, you don't say, it was agonizing and almost killed me.
Exactly. You use strategic understatement to convey the high stakes while maintaining this polished demeanor. Using the word rewarding implies personal growth and high impact, which signals corporate achievement.
And this is where the source material gives us critical insight into the modern professional landscape. James immediately highlights the global team dynamic that was involved in this Henderson account.
His team included members from 5 different countries.
That number is staggering. And the list itself is basically a map of key professional English-speaking hubs.
We have Toronto, Canada, Dublin, Ireland, Mumbai, India, Singapore, and New York.
It just demonstrates that for a major contract that's based in Manhattan, the talent pool is inherently international. It necessitates global collaboration.
And the linguistic complexity of managing a team like that is immense. The challenge wasn't just the strategy, it was the logistics of communication across these vast time zones.
Exactly. And James acknowledges that hurdle with that classic polished understatement we were just talking about.
He says managing time zones required very early morning calls and very late evening calls.
He's not complaining. He's merely stating the necessary cost of a successful global enterprise. That one short phrase conveys hundreds of hours of logistical complexity.
It really does. And Emma praises this dynamic. She calls it the beauty of working in today's global environment. And then she brings her own project forward.
She's developing a new software platform, and it's in the final stages before a launch plan for early next month.
So that signals that she is also operating under intense pressure and deadlines.
Right, and her update shows this shared understanding of the demanding, deadline-driven reality that they both inhabit. And once again, we get that global connection just woven in so naturally.
She mentions her lead developer is from Melbourne, Australia.
The same country as her husband, David. It just reinforces the interconnectedness of their world.
It's incredible. We have Toronto, Dublin, Mumbai, Singapore, and Melbourne, all tied to one single dinner conversation about a successful project and a pending software launch.
So what this section really teaches us is that in fluent, high-level social English, work is not siloed off.
No, it's integrated, it's global, and it's highly detailed. And the ability to deploy that professional jargon quickly and then transition seamlessly back to discussing wine or family, that's the true sign of mastery.
The service is excellent, and Antonio delivers the appetizers, which immediately shifts the conversation into sensory language and detailed critique.
The initial review is visual. The presentation is absolutely beautiful and stunning.
And this is a vital lexicon lesson for anyone listening. We are moving far beyond general praise like yummy into very specific adjectives that convey texture, nuance, and cooking technique.
They are engaging in shared discernment. It's a performance.
Let's break down their in-depth descriptions, starting with the burrata and heirloom tomatoes. Emma calls it incredible.
And she specifies that the cheese is so creamy and the tomatoes are perfectly ripe.
Creamy and ripe. Those are key here.
They are. Creamy describes the ideal texture of the burrata's interior. And ripe is the standard adjective for a perfectly textured and flavored fruit or vegetable. And then she notes the flavor is enhanced by the basil and olive oil. Her critique is holistic. It covers texture, freshness, and seasoning.
Okay, next up, the calamari. This is often a really difficult dish to execute perfectly, so their critique is highly specific.
Yes, and it's focused on the successful outcome. The focus is on the ideal contrast.
It's perfectly cooked.
Tender on the inside, crispy on the outside. And crucially, they use a negative to affirm a positive.
It is specifically not rubbery.
And avoiding that rubbery texture is the #1 sign of high-quality, non-overcooked calamari.
And the sauce is also carefully balanced. She calls it delicious, with a nice hint of garlic without it being overpowering.
That nuance, a hint, signals an appreciation for subtlety.
And finally, the arancini, which takes James right back to that little trattoria in Rome.
And that statement is the ultimate validation, right? It's linking the restaurant's execution directly to an authentic travel memory.
The word he uses, trattoria, that's a powerful authenticity marker.
It is. A trattoria is a small, often family-run, casual Italian restaurant. So by invoking that word, James is confirming that Bella Notte, despite being this upscale Manhattan place, still captures the spirit of true Italian cooking.
The rice is perfectly seasoned.
And the mozzarella is described as gooey and warm.
Gooey is the perfect colloquial word there. It's a little informal, but it's precisely what you want from melted mozzarella in a fried rice ball.
It conveys that stretchy, satisfying melt that a more formal word might miss.
So what this section really shows is that the discussion of food is not just about hunger.
No, it's a performative act of shared discernment. By using this huge range of vocabulary for texture, flavor balance, authenticity markers, they're reinforcing their own social and cultural alignment. They're showing each other, through language, that they share an appreciation for quality and nuance.
The main courses arrive, and Antonio again demonstrates his high-level service by detailing the specific components of each dish as he serves them. He's selling the craft.
He is. He's providing the final plating details, which often explains the price point, right? He says the sea bass is served on a bed of sautéed spinach with rusted cherry tomatoes, finished with a lemon butter sauce.
And the osso buco is described as being braised for hours in red wine with vegetables, served with creamy polenta. He's reminding them of the investment of time and care in the preparation.
The cross-tasting confirms the quality is uniform across the board, and the language shifts again to match the specific characteristics of each dish.
Okay, let's start with Emma's sea bass.
The descriptors are refined and focused on texture and lightness. It's unbelievable, cooked to absolute perfection.
And then the essential descriptors for fish: moist and flaky.
Which is key. If a fish is not moist and flaky, it's overcooked. Simple as that. The lemon butter sauce she calls heavenly, which is a perfect high-level emotional endorsement.
Now, contrast that language with James's osso buco review. You cannot use the word flaky for braised meat.
No, exactly. The vocabulary has to shift entirely to accommodate richness and tenderness. The key phrase for the osso buco is that the meat is so tender it's literally falling off the bone.
And that confirms the successful result of the hours of braising that Antonio mentioned earlier.
Exactly. The sauce is so rich and flavorful, and the accompanying polenta is incredibly creamy. The words themselves reinforce the heavy, comforting, deep nature of the dish.
The food consensus is established, and then James provides a final, powerful cultural endorsement by referencing his high expectations.
He credits a colleague from Naples, Italy, who told him the restaurant reminds her of home.
And that is the gold standard of validation.
It really is. Having a referral from an Italian native confirms Bellanuts' quality in an external, expert context. It validates their entire dining experience.
So with the food established as a massive success, the conversation pivots back to the deeply personal updates.
Specifically, relationship milestones and future travel plans. This is a moment of high trust.
Emma and David are celebrating their 5th anniversary next month, and they're planning a sentimental trip back to Hawaii.
Specifically, Maui, where they honeymooned. Her description is pure relaxation goals. Pristine beaches, incredible snorkeling, and seeing sea turtles.
Now, compare that to James's plan with his sister Catherine. The contrast is fantastic fodder for conversation.
It really is. They are planning a physically challenging 96-mile hike on the West Highland Way in Scotland next summer.
Over 7 days.
This is a dramatically different type of trip. It's ambitious, it's challenging, and it's focused on physical endurance and wild landscape. And James lists the details of the route covering lochs, glens, and Loch Lomond, which conveys the ruggedness of the endeavor.
And he confirms he's actively training for this physical challenge. He's going to the gym, taking long walks in Central Park.
The contrast between a restful, romantic return to Maui and a grueling 7-day hike across the Scottish Highlands, it just showcases the diverse interests and life paths of this social circle.
It shows that their relationship is stable enough to tolerate and appreciate these dramatically different types of goals.
They move so seamlessly from discussing rich sauces and flaky fish to long-term physical conditioning plans. It's incredible.
Antonio returns to clear the table, maintaining that structured service flow. He encourages them towards dessert, noting the wonderful options.
They decide on coffee first, Emma an espresso, James a cappuccino.
And the dessert menu provides the final opportunity for high-end culinary analysis, and Antonio uses highly descriptive language for the house specialties.
He lists 4 options, and each one is detailed. You've got the tiramisu, described by its complex components, espresso-soaked ladyfingers, mascarpone cream, cocoa powder.
Then the panna cotta with a mixed berry compote.
The dark chocolate torte with vanilla gelato, and the night special, limoncello cake with lemon curd and whipped cream.
They exhibit their synchronized taste by both choosing the tiramisu and the limoncello cake.
Confirming the decision with that classic idiom, great minds think alike.
But before the desserts arrive, Jim shares a major personal detail that he's held until this final phase of the meal.
The new relationship reveal.
He's dating someone named Rachel, an elementary school teacher in Brooklyn, for about 3 months, and they met at a coffee shop.
And the timing is so intentional. Waiting until the successful dinner is wrapping up shows that James is comfortable and, serious enough about Rachel to integrate her into his established social life.
It's a moment of vulnerability and commitment. He's putting the news out there, signaling his happiness.
And Emma's reaction is positive, and the plan is immediately made to bring Rachel to the next dinner. This is social integration in action.
The final dessert review is just as precise as the appetizer review. Even the language of coffee appreciation is specialized. The espresso is perfect, not too bitter.
With nice crema.
And crema is that specific, desirable, reddish-brown foam layer on top of a properly extracted espresso. It signals quality and freshness.
And the cappuccino foam is described as perfectly textured, a key marker for milk preparation.
And the desserts themselves.
The tiramisu is phenomenal, the coffee flavor is so rich, and the mascarpone is light and creamy. And the limoncello cake is incredible, so moist.
And the lemon flavor is described using the absolute pinnacle of balanced culinary criticism.
It is perfect, specifically being not too sweet, not too tart.
Not too sweet, not too tart. That phrase is a high-level appreciation of nuance. It shows they value balance and complexity over just a simple sugar shock.
The dinner then draws to a close with a transactional wrap-up. James insists on covering the check.
It's my treat, followed by the reciprocal agreement, you can get the next one.
Which establishes an immediate social and financial commitment to maintain the relationship.
And that commitment is formalized by them agreeing to make it a regular thing, potentially a monthly dinner group with rotating restaurant choices.
This turns a single meal into an ongoing tradition.
And they proactively finalize the next date, the 3rd Saturday of next month. This proactive scheduling is the ultimate sign of a strong, valued friendship in busy professional lives. It avoids that vague, we should do this again sometime.
Completely.
And the evening concludes so casually but purposefully. They decide to walk together toward Union Square after the big meal, reinforcing the relaxed and unhurried nature of their time together.
Oh.
What a detailed deep dive into the conversational mechanics of an upscale dinner. We move from the critical social bridge and the language of expert service.
Through global professional updates and these highly detailed culinary critiques.
The key takeaway for me is the structural fluidity. Notice how the conversation succeeded because it so seamlessly blended professional talk.
I mean, global team logistics across 5 major hubs. Toronto, Dublin, Mumbai, Singapore, NYC, high-stakes contract wins. A software launch.
With deeply personal milestones, anniversaries, new relationships, and planning physically grueling travel.
That blend is what defines sophisticated, high-context English conversation.
And the vocabulary we unlock today provides the exact language for both that professional polish and that personal discernment. It gives you the specific words.
Robust, reduction-aged, crema, flaky, gooey.
To elevate your own conversational register from just basic description to expert critique.
So what does this all mean for you, the person looking to master this level of English? Well, consider the true depth that's required to navigate this conversation successfully.
We started in Manhattan, right? And over the course of one dinner, they wove in references to San Francisco, Boston, the Veneto region, Rome, Florence, Venice, London, Sydney, Toronto, Dublin, Mumbai, Singapore, Brooklyn, Maui, and Scotland.
That is a truly staggering geographical span.
It really is.
And that is the final thought we want to leave you with. The required context for fluent English today is inherently global. You have to have command not just of vocabulary, but of the geography, the culture, and the professional norms of, 24 different places to participate fully?
The conversation wasn't just about the food. It was about defining their shared space in an interconnected world.
We hope you enjoyed this deep dive.
We'll catch you next time.